Welcome back to episode 3 of the Musical Movements podcast. My name is Shraii.
I'm Sincere.
And today we are at Beverage Boutique in Ruislip. So it's basically a high-end spirits and wine boutique with a tasting room. So make sure you guys get down here and taste some amazing spirits and wines soon. So today's episode is all things running order / itinerary. So basically what order you should do what and at what time and that kind of thing and how long each thing should last basically. So Ash, you know, we do the civils, we do the ceremonies, we do the receptions. I actually have I find a lot of things that we do weird, but they're traditionally the right way of doing things. The first thing I wanted to talk about was you know when you do the ceremony, and then there's a John arrival usually at 9 in the morning or whatever, and then you have there's that bit in the middle where the John arrival's going on, the bride side of the family are outside, and then the less important family members are inside. Yeah, basically. And they're playing all this background music, and you're just like, oh, this is a bit strange. There's 20 people in here. What's going on? So I try and tell bride and grooms to limit that time as short as possible. So if they're not, maybe send out 2 invites. I don't know. If they're not going to be part of the arrival, then maybe tell them to come 20 minutes later. I don't know, something like that.
I mean, to be honest with you, with the wedding ceremony, everyone's probably there 2 hours before anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
So
for no reason.
And if it's, obviously in the UK, you're not going to get as much hot weather. So they want to be inside the venue regardless, and they want to sit down and just sit there and just wait.
Yeah, that's true. You get a lot of waiting around. And then obviously, the bride and groom, or the groom will enter, then the bride eventually enters. And then from there, it's usually about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on the priest. And then obviously, I find the ceremonies more nerve-wracking than the receptions. That's why I don't like doing them too much anymore, because I get so nervous because we're in charge of the music, the microphones, and the priest got a mic, and then, any little scratch you hear on the sounds, you're like, oh my God, is the mic gone or whatever. It's always a bit weird. I find it quite nerve-wracking. I like speeches at receptions. I don't like doing them, but we have to.
That's true, yeah. With I mean, I've had some issues sometimes with the lapel mic. Where sometimes the mother just drops something or he's nudged something.
Lapel is the one that's...
the small one. And you hear this big noise.
Yeah.
And literally everyone just turns and looks at you.
Yeah.
And you're like...
And the worst one is, when they take, even if they take a handheld mic.
Yeah.
And then they go and do the John arrival.
Yeah.
And they expect the mic to work outside. Yeah. And you're like, even if it's impossible. Even if it was working outside, the speakers are inside. Yeah. So no one's gonna hear it anyway. So they're standing outside with a mic, and I'm just like, are you okay? Yeah. But they don't get it, man. I don't think they understand.
Or sometimes they stand at the bottom and waving it, saying it's not working. Yeah. It's not working.
I feel like we're gonna end up talking about priests this whole episode. And then you get the priests that come with their own mic,
which is good.
It's good, but they're also sometimes really bad.
Yeah, well, it depends on the quality. If the quality's not great, I'm not really...
Quality of the priest?
No, the quality of the mic. The quality of the mic's not great,
I think makes-wise, you're always going to go for Sennheiser or Shure, basically.
Or Shure, yeah. Those are the two.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Don't really want to do that.
For handhelds, headset mics, lapels, I think they're pretty safe to go with. So, yeah, I mean, ceremonies and civils, like we said before, that's they run themselves, essentially. So once the priest is in charge, you've got a couple hours, and then it's lunch, and then after lunch, or during lunch, you've got the pictures, and then the bride and groom go and do their pictures, and then they come back, do the games and whatnot, and then the bride leaves to go back home, which is always funny. I find that so funny why they all cry. I don't get it. I get that you're getting married, and it's a big day, but you're literally going from the venue home to get changed, and you come back to the venue.
Yeah.
But,
all happy.
Yeah, cry later.
All happy,
do you know what
basically.
I mean? Exactly. Yeah. So that's pretty much straightforward, right? The civil is really easy. For us, I suppose we got 2 or 3 songs to play max, and maybe a couple in between whilst they're signing. But reception, talk me through in your opinion, your perfect itinerary.
Like a running order.
Yeah.
Right. So
because people get so confused with drinks reception and speeches, and should they do 2 separate dance floor times and whatnot? So what would you do?
So for me, it would basically be, so the bride and groom enter. Actually, let's start with the guests will enter first. Yeah. So the guests will come into the room.
No drinks reception.
drinks. Oh, are you talking about canapes or are you talking about actual reception?
Well, this is the thing. So like people
So-
do a lot. I put their starters as canapes in the
Yeah.
drinks reception, which I actually prefer.
It's probably better because it cuts the time down a bit.
You get more dancing.
You get more dance time. So I would say, yeah. Let's start with canapes. So
Yeah.
they'll have canapes that will last for what, 45 minutes to an hour roughly,
Yeah,
give
yeah.
or take. Normally there's a bar open, hopefully, so they can get a few drinks, have some canapes. So then they will make their way into the room. And then normally, sometimes there's a challenge to get everyone to the seats.
Oh mate, that is the longest. So actually, I'm glad you said that because you know there's that bit where, so obviously let's say the drink reception was 6 till 7 p.m. for argument's sake, right? There's someone playing the sax or whatever in the drink reception, and then they walk in and you're playing a bit of background music, and then to get them to sit down, that is. So I always say keep that bar closed in the room.
Normally, yeah.
In that room,
Yeah.
just keep it closed. Otherwise, no one will sit down.
No.
And people are like, oh, but they haven't had a drink. And I'm like, they just had an hour of drinks. Like, I'm sure they can sit down. You can have a couple of drinks on the table or whatever. I always say keep the bar shut.
Yeah.
I actually say keep it shut until starters.
That's probably the right thing to do. But nowadays, most people are just basically keeping it open.
Yeah,
Because
it's just
people get
turned into-
bored, they're getting irate, they want to drink, you know.
Yeah, but bro, like if you've had like an hour or say you get there halfway through the drink reception and you've had a few drinks in that half an hour and then you walk in and the bar's closed, would
Yeah.
you be upset?
Yeah.
Is it?
If I was a guest, I would be upset. Yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
suppose you need to know the caterers like swing some drinks over this way. All right, cool.
And
So
we
you
probably
keep the
do.
bar
We know most
shut
caterers anyway. So
because I feel like if you keep the bar open, there's just gonna take another half an hour.
see, that's the thing.
Yeah, and then it depends on the end time of the venue as well. Like, is it closing at 11:30, 12, 12:30, whatever it is? More and more, I'm noticing it's getting earlier and earlier.
Yeah,
which
it
is
is
not
nowadays.
a bad thing for us, but it's a bad thing because it, in terms of dance time, sort of gets shortened. But yeah, I suppose that's true. All right, so anyway, carry on. So let's say the bride and groom are about to enter. Everyone's seated.
Yeah, so bride and groom. So everyone's seated. Bride and groom make their way inside.
Yeah.
99% of the time, they'll go straight to the cake cutting.
Mm.
Once the cake cutting's done, they'll obviously head back to the head table. If they're starters will be served. If there's no starters, then obviously the speeches will start commencing
Okay.
because they've had canapes outside already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they cut that start time because that will take up like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
ideally.
for sure.
So you've
for sure.
basically cut that 45 minutes down, and you've got more time, obviously, for dancing. So speeches will then commence unless there's any dance performances.
Do you know what I always find funny is when like, it's usually brides that send the itinerary over, right? And they're like, oh, we've left 20 minutes for starters. And I'm like, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that one.
It'll take 20 minutes to get the starters on the table.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no chance. But I always say like, so it's funny you said that about if there's starters, go straight into it. If there's not, do the speeches. I always say, so bride and groom walk in, like I would have the bar closed, but you might not, that's cool. And then everyone's seated, bride and groom enter, do the cake.
Yeah.
And I say, just sit down and let one of the fathers speak first. So if one of the fathers is doing a speech anyways, I say do it at that stage, whether you have starters or not. Because it's probably the nicest speech out of all of them.
Yeah, probably.
And it's probably the most welcoming. So I always say get usually it's the father of the bride, get them to talk first and just get it going, like get the speeches going. So get that one done. Then if you want to bring out starters, bring out starters. But I would say
so you get a speech before the starters come out.
yeah, straight away. As soon as they've cut the cake
Wow,
and then sat
okay.
down, get the father of the bride done. He's like, oh, hey, welcome. You know, so good to see everyone from around the world. You know, the same jokes about free food, all that. Like, get that one done straight away, yeah. And then go into starters or mains, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this because I'm friends with a lot of the caterers, but if anyone's going to delay a wedding, it's either going to be the bride,
Yeah.
bride's mum,
Yeah.
or the caterers.
Yeah.
Basically, it's those three people. Those three. So if you got someone, if you're getting married and you got someone who's quite good at timing, basically, I would say get them on the case of the suppliers, like the caterers rather, and basically say to this relative or whatever, make sure food is out at this time.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise sometimes it gets a bit delayed and whatever, but
Well,
generally,
you've got a lot of wedding planners nowadays anyway.
Yeah.
So they
should be
normally take
on the
They
ball.
normally take charge and deal with it all, and they make sure.
what's
that-
your views on a wedding planner?
I think you can actually just get a friend or family or a cousin to
reckon?
actually do it for them. Yeah.
Interesting. Are you saying that because you do weddings though? If you imagine you knew nothing about weddings.
I don't think it's that difficult, personally.
I feel like every DJ,
As in the running. I'm not talking about like, so if we're talking about doing the whole wedding where you have to book a venue, you have to go look for a caterer, you have to book a decor company, a DJ, whatever, that's different. But I'm talking about running off just that reception. It's quite straightforward if you think about it. So obviously,
But is it though?
it is.
Straightforward.
It is straightforward.
I feel like every DJ that does weddings thinks that they could be a wedding planner.
We can. We basically
no
can.
way, bro.
Well, I can anyway.
Can you do it?
I think I can.
Alright, listen, if you need a wedding planner,
if you need a wedding planner, hit me up. Hit me up.
Forget the DJ. He's a wedding planner
hit
for
me
now
up.
on.
Listen,
That's it.
I'll DJ and do a wedding planner.
Oh my God.
Because you got to remember.
Oh my God, let's do that. Let's do that.
We're hosting the night.
That's true.
So
We're in charge.
I've got the mic.
Yeah.
So you have to listen to
Yeah,
it.
listen, you lot aren't eating yet. Wait, I got to play one more track. And then you lot gonna eat. And then we're gonna do speeches if I feel like it, all right? No, I hear that. Maybe we could be wedding planners.
As in, I'm just talking running of the reception.
Yeah.
If it was a case of, like I said, getting a venue and this, and especially the morning ceremony, that can be a bit tricky. But in terms of the reception, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And,
all right.
And as long as you ain't got like 400, 500, 600 guests, then it's different. If you've got like a smallish venue,
Like
250,
300, yeah.
it's manageable.
That's true.
Because you've got to say is obviously, once the people see it, obviously we'll announce as much as we can to get people seated, but they will then egg on to say, listen, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down.
I think we need to get a wedding planner on at some stage in the podcast to actually let us know what the wedding planner does that we
What their
don't
views
see.
are. Yeah.
I feel like you're right. I feel like,
But there might be more to it. So,
there
it's
might
good
be
to find.
more to it.
We'll get one soon.
On the DJ side of things, it is pretty straightforward, I suppose.
Yeah.
To be fair. All right. So let's just say, they've got 1 out of 4 speeches done.
Yeah.
And starters have come out. Let's just say,
Yeah.
a lot of catering teams, especially, and some wedding planners usually recommend that you put a bit of a dancing segment in between starters and mains.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I don't know how you.
I don't
feel.
like that.
Yeah. Why?
Because once you're on the dance floor, you want it to start and end in one.
Yeah,
you don't want to break
like one roll.
Yeah, because it sort of messes up the momentum or the sort of, so some people are so hyped up, they're on the dance floor, they're ready, they're charged up. They don't want to get off the dance floor to eat.
And then to drag them off.
And then to get them back on again.
After they've had mains or
that's
whatever.
difficult to get them back on again because they're so chilled out at the bar, they're talking, they're chatting, whatever. To get them back on.
I always feel like whoever recommends that, they're saying it because they need time to do something.
Yeah.
So if it's the caterers, they're saying, oh yeah, have an hour of dancing in between. It's probably because they need an hour to get the mains out.
Yeah, probably.
But they don't need an hour. They can do it quicker. I know because we've seen it so many times. We see it all the time. They can do it. So I always suggest, don't do like 2 sections as well. All right, so let's say starters is done. So you're gonna have a couple more speeches here.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, let's say it's the bridesmaids and the best man or whatever. And then you go into mains.
Yep.
And then how long do you leave for mains usually? Because if you've left like 45 minutes for starters, you need an hour for mains or?
I think probably a little bit less.
Less.
I think everyone eats so much starters and canapes because that's normally the main.
Starters is always the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Starters is always
that's
the best.
normally the best. So they're probably eating so much, they're probably just going to nibble on the mains. So I'll say half an hour. Once it's on the table, half an hour.
Half an hour once on the table. Okay.
Because it takes
that makes sense.
It takes about 10-15 minutes by the time they get it all out.
And that's another thing. Caterers need to stop clearing when the speech is on.
Yeah.
Because then all you just hear is like plates and knives
Rattling
and forks.
and
Yeah. So I think
I'm not finished with that yet.
Yeah. I think service in terms of waitresses and waiters should just stop.
Yeah.
As soon as so I feel like caterers or wedding planners or whoever it is, I feel like I'm bashing caterers now, but anyone that's in charge of waitering, basically, they should be advised if there's a speech going on, just stop.
Yeah.
Literally just stop. Unless you're serving the head table, just stop. Because there's no point, like, you might be walking across the camera's shots or you might be walking, across the bride and groom's face and then you're carrying plates and someone might drop a glass and that's while someone's speaking. And a lot of people that speak, I find, are quite nervous anyways.
They are.
And then if you got, plates and knives and forks rattling about, it's it's not the best way to
No,
make them comfortable.
it's hard to edit stuff out. So
yeah, hard.
Could be
talking about editing. What pictures and stuff for speeches? Oh my god, it's the most annoying thing in the world.
Pictures for
speeches.
Oh, right. If you've got a picture or video for the speech, you need to give it to us in advance, please, because you can't give it on the like. How many times have you done a wedding, Shraii?
Oh.
And let's say whoever it is, the friend or the sister or brother or whatever, come up to you with the saying, "Oh, I've got a picture for the speech."
Yeah, it's a surprise.
I've got it on my phone though.
Got it on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a USB. And I'm just like, so basically in preparation, which Devon and I will talk about in the next episode or whatever, in a couple episodes time. I'm not sure when it comes out, but we're going to be talking about this. We actually have prepared already slideshows and running order in terms of pictures and what needs to be shown on screens or the screen. And then to add to it that's not a joke. Like it's not easy just to stick in 5 pictures in order. It sounds like, oh yeah, he's put it in a PowerPoint. It's not. No. It's not that easy. So yeah, please send it to us before.
Yeah, because if you've got like, for example, sometimes we've got big LED walls on the screens.
And you've got to change the resolution.
Yeah, the resolution. It's not easy. So yeah, we've got to have them in advance. Like so key. This is why we go through with this stuff with the bride and groom in advance. But then
I went through a phase actually of I used to I did it up until this season actually, the one that just passed 2021. I basically said anyone that's doing a speech that has a slideshow or some sort of picture show, I've always said to them, you need to find someone to press next at the right time. I don't want to be like, if I'm controlling the mics and I'm trying to stay out the way, and then like
sometimes the songs
I'm not and then we've got to play a song during or the intro or the outro, whatever. I don't want to be responsible for that.
I'm the same. I did the same. I said just have someone separate that will cover.
Or I give them a clicker.
Yeah, or bring your laptop or wherever it may be, and then just have someone there to do it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Like you're right. You can't control the mics, stay out the way, and do the pictures.
I think the larger the production, like if you've got a vision wall and we've got like 4 or 5 staff members there, fine, you can get away with it. It's fine, not a problem. But if there's just a couple of TV screens or whatever, and it's just you and one other controlling everything,
it's not easy.
It's not easy.
No, it's difficult. It's very difficult. This way,
and it's not even that it's not impossible. It can be done. It's just you don't want to get it wrong.
No,
and you have to read this. You have to read the speech.
You have to follow the
as they're saying it, and then you're like, oh, is that picture one? And then and then it gets a bit complicated.
Have you ever done it before where you've
messed it up?
Yeah, messed up.
I've messed up. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I stopped doing it. I was like, I can't be trusted with this. I was like, no way. I can't be doing like this is someone's wedding. I can't be messing up the speeches.
What's your take on like having? How many speeches do you think is appropriate at a reception?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think 4 to 5 max. So you have father of the bride, bridesmaids, best man and groom. So that's 4. If you have one more in between or somewhere, sometimes the bride likes to talk. That's cool, but I think those 4 are the only 4 you need. You don't need best man and groomsman, bridesmaid, best friend of the bride, and like, it doesn't make sense to have all these, and then you have the cousins, and then you have
siblings.
Yeah, but then having said all of that,
but then siblings again. Like, so if it's, let's say the groom's got a brother and sister, they may not want to do it together.
Brother will probably be the best man. Sister. Yeah, it gets a bit complicated. But then can't you tie in best man and sibling? I don't know, something. There must be ways around it. And also, you've got like 4 events. You've got Mendi night, Sangeet night. The civil. You can always do speeches at those things if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. What's the most you've done? How many speeches is the most in one week?
Oh man, so like once.
When I tell you my one, you're going to be shocked.
It wasn't about the number. The number, I think it was 4 or 5. It was fine. It was the father of the groom.
How long it took?
Mum's live, 45 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
I swear to God, I swear to God, I'm not even exaggerating or like making it extreme for the podcast. I swear to God, it was nearly 45 minutes he was talking, and it got to a stage where like I was like, I don't know what to do about this. He's completely ruined the itinerary. Yeah. And he's literally
downsized
cut half
it's
the dancing time. And the mains are now getting cold and all these things were happening. And people are looking at me, I'm looking at him, and he's carrying on. And he's not even reading that. He's just got this speech in his head and he just kept going and going and going. I was like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. What can you say to the father of the groom? Like you can't.
You just have to smile and just
Yeah.
carry
So
on with what he's doing.
yeah, people come up to me after they're like, "Oh, that guy's speech was so long." I'm like, "Yeah, it's the father in it. Like, can't really say anything. It is what it is. He's probably paying for the whole thing, anyways."
Basically.
So yeah,
I had 12 at one speech.
You've had 12
Yeah, I
speeches.
had 12, and that lasted probably about an hour and 20 minutes.
Are you serious?
And the reception ran late as well.
I'd see that. I just don't understand why you'd consciously factor in 12 speeches to an itinerary.
No.
I think bars moving. I think 5 speaches maximum.
Yeah,
is
maximum.
Plenty of speeches.
Yeah,
like
and
that
I think you should
enough.
space them out. So, like you said, having the bride's father doing the first speech.
Yeah, just after they've cut the cake.
I think have a couple before, have a dinner, bit of a break, and then have 2 more.
Yeah, or you
have to make sure the groom's last, obviously.
Yeah. So going back to our sort of running order, I would have 1 after I've cut the cake, have the starters, have 2 more,
yeah,
have the mains, and then have the rest. If it's just the groom, just have the groom.
Yeah.
Because then from there, so moving on, the groom at the end of his speech, he can be like, "Oh, I would like to welcome my wife to the dance floor for her first dance," and then bam, you've started the whole night. That's it.
And then
Easy.
That's it.
Yeah, done. That's it. So that's how I would do it. Because I think I said in episode 1 or 2, I said that to Nanesh, I was saying, bro, like if you go to a club,
yeah,
you get there around 11 p.m. and you leave around 2. That's 3 hours. Half that time you're at the bar, smoking area, bathroom, whatever it might be. That leaves you with about hour and a half, 2 hours of dancing, and that's enough on a night out. So why is that not enough for a wedding?
For a wedding, yeah.
So
true.
I think depending on ending time, and that's another thing. You need to look at ending time to see when you should start.
I mean, I think hour and a half is minimum you should have dancing. I think you should have ideally 2 hours would be good.
2 hours is good.
2 hours is appropriate.
Yeah, I think 2 hours is perfect, especially for Gujarati weddings. I feel like because we don't, we're not going to play hours and hours of Bhangra. Like Punjabi weddings are a bit different. Their music taste is a bit different. We play a lot of Bollywood, a lot of R&B, a lot of hip hop, a lot of Afro beats, whatever it might be. Whatever they're into. So ours is a bit different. We kind of play quite a broad range of stuff, whereas other weddings are like Punjabi weddings are a lot of Bhangra with a bit of hip hop and R&B, or whatever, a bit of house here and there, and then like you get, that's how their weddings are, which is great. And I've been to many Punjabi weddings. They're like so fun.
They're full on.
They're literally
they
like,
are full on.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You get drummers and stuff that come and then just hype it up and stuff. But it's good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's their sort of concept and it works. I mean, some Gujarati weddings, you do have some dole players that come.
Yeah. It's not as common, of course, but
it does happen.
Because a lot of Gujaratis don't like Bhangra, basically.
No, and it's loud. It's not. It's not like it's a small bit of sound with the speakers.
I think the boys are going to talk about sound limiters in a couple of episodes' time. Sound limiters is a bit of an issue. I feel like now is a time where there's more than ever. More sound limiters than ever before.
They are.
I know you're quite into your sound systems and lighting systems. How have you found this sort of change? Because I personally hate it.
I mean, I've had loads of bride and grooms ask before they've even booked me or even a venue. They ask me, "What's the main questions I should ask a venue when I book it?"
That's a common question.
And I say, there's only 2 things you've got to ask: what time can I have the venue till, as in the last song, and is there a sound limiter?
Yeah,
that's for me the 2 main questions.
Yeah.
The rest of it will fall in place.
Yeah.
So sound limit is key because there's certain venues where you go to, but the volume is so low that you can comfortably talk to the person next to you on the dance floor.
And the places with these sound limiters that they're some of the nicest venues in the country, but you can't really party.
Nah.
Like we can make do because we're good DJs.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We can make do with it, but I just think that if a DJ is unable to play at the optimum sound limit or sound range that he wants to, I feel like there should be other forms of entertainment going on.
Yeah.
So whether it's magicians or caricatures, I think that's what they call when they draw people. When they draw you in like a cartoon.
But that's not during the reception, right?
You can. I think do it. Yeah, why not? Have a photo booth. All these things.
I mean, photo booth and stuff. Yeah, that's all great. the drawing thing,
Yeah,
reception.
it's sick. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, you think only drink reception?
You're cutting dancing time out.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is if there's a severe sound limit.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, but the bride and groom may not think to have all that stuff.
Well, yeah, but that's why they should listen to this podcast.
Wedding planner.
Yeah. I just think there should be other things.
Yeah.
Because, or you have absolutely nothing and just try and focus on getting people on the dance floor.
Yeah, from as soon as you walk in, 8 o'clock.
What? Okay, yeah. What? Dance from 8
Yeah,
8
8
p.m.
to 12. Forget the speeches, just have the starters. And the best thing is just basically have bottles on the table.
Oh, right, okay.
Mixers on the table. You ain't got to go anywhere. Just quickly go to the table, get your drink back on the
Okay, so to sum up this third podcast rather, Ash is saying, scrap your itinerary, just party from 8 till 1 a.m.
That is the perfect running order.
Peace. I'm joking. No, so basically to sum up, I think we've kind of agreed, have your drink reception for about an hour.
Yeah.
Start, also get the bride and get the guest in. Arguably have the bar open or close. I'd say close. He says open. That's up to you guys. Get everyone seated. Bride and groom walk in.
Yep.
Cut the cake. Do a speech, maybe.
One or two.
Yeah. Get the starters and the mains or whatever done. Get the rest of the speeches done. First dance. Bam. Party. Weddingplanners.com.
Basically.
I think that's basically it, man. I think that's the best way to do it.
That's the best running order. Yeah.
So basically,
it can be tweaked here and there, but that's 99% there.
And we're thinking, optimizing dance time essentially.
Yeah.
That's what we're.
That's key.
That
makes the party.
Yeah. But this is the thing. Like that is the party.
That is the party. Because even if you went to a reception, you didn't have food,
Flowers.
I mean, even if you didn't have, I don't want to say this, but even if you didn't have alcohol, yeah, you need
something. Yeah.
You need a DJ.
Yeah.
You need the music. That's the main thing.
That's true.
If you took away the DJ and you just had food and drink.
I always say that same thing. Like, well, I say people remember three things: is did you run out of alcohol? Was the food good? And how was the music? Yeah. So basically, our prices are going up.
Yeah.
All right. So that was our take on like itineraries and running order. Don't take it too seriously. But some of what we said was real. Like to actually take that seriously.
No, most of it was real.
Yeah. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed it. Please do pass it on to your friends and family, anyone that might be getting married anytime soon or in the next couple of years, or someone that's engaged. Subscribe, like, share, all those good things. And don't forget, a new podcast / YouTube video is out every Sunday. So stay tuned and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Take care.